Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Karu and it is time for me to share my finished pages for January 2024, first month of the year. Honestly, I thought I was going to get more done. I had a couple of more picked out pages, which I'll probably do in February. But overall, it was a fun month. I had two buddy colors, my very first two buddy colors. I have a third one set up, but that one, we gave ourselves more time. So it is not even started on my end yet. And I had some experimental stuff that I didn't quite get to finish, but I'll share nonetheless. The other thing I have to share with you guys is my coloring bullet journal that I have decided to do this year just to make things a bit easier for me and for bookkeeping, what all I'm doing when it comes to coloring. So I think I'll start with that first so I can show you what how I've set it up, and just in case anyone else is interested in doing something like that. So here's the journal I picked. This was one I designed myself and I have for sale in my shop, which I'll leave a link below if you're interested in getting the same one. The art on both the front and the back were done by me, and the inside is a dot grid journal, and I have set it up for coloring. So the first page is the index. I have all the pages there. This is not a numbered journal, so I had to put in the numbers myself. I started with a future log where I have from January to June, and then a second page for July to December with dates from 1 to 31, and I've filled it in with interesting days that could be used as themes for coloring. Unfortunately, you can't see too well. Let me see if I can zoom in. Well, camera is not liking the light colors I used, but so I put in at the top the themes for the month, and then days that are interesting for possible colorings. Like, for example, February is February for Fae creatures. We have the Lunar New Year on the 10th, and we have Valentine's Day on the 14th. So those are interesting themes that I could find coloring pages for. And so a lot of this is partially taken from, I forgot the name, I'll put it on the screen. And I got her calendar. I'm not sure I included everything she had placed on her coloring calendar, but I did take inspiration from that, and then complemented it with my own. I looked it up, interesting days, and just to see if there were any that caught my eye. So I did all months there. Then I made myself a overview stats page so that I can track my YouTube stats, my coloring stats, my art stats, and my new supplies stats for the whole year. I figured it would be nice to have it on one page so that I could see the changes over the year. Then the next thing I did was a coloring book directory. This took ages. But once it's set up, it's set up. So what I did was I have each of my books, they are organized by artist name, and the squares below are how many pages there are to color in each book, and then I fill them in as I finish a page. So half a box that's filled means that I started the page, and then I fill it in when I'm done. In this case, since I had quite a lot of coloring from last year, all of last year's are in that like off pink, and then the green ones were the ones that I finished in January. I'm not entirely sure if I've updated it entirely, but yeah, so I had a lot of boxes to draw, but I have my complete coloring collection in here. It is nice to be able to fill out the little boxes and see how much I have done for each book, and it helps me also see which books I have that I haven't done anything in, or that I have quite a bit done in and that I might want to like finish. So yeah, that's something that I had started to do in my normal bullet journal, but I ran out of space, so I made this directory. I cut out the tabs and then filled it in with all my books. And hopefully I have enough space here for quite a while. I did leave an overflow so that I already had to leave 2 pages for ABC because there's a lot of authors with ABC last names. So that is my coloring book directory. Then I left a page for video ideas and coloring page ideas that I get so that I can jot them down and not forget them. I did a year in pixels page, or a coloring tracker. So I have filled in here for January. Every day that I did some coloring, I would put a dot in. So as you can see, I had a couple of spaces there where I just wasn't feeling like coloring. But other than that, I did pretty well, I think. And then I set myself some goals, one of which I reached on the 4th of January. I got to 500 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me on my channel. And so I have a couple of other sets, including 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully that happens relatively soon. I think I'm at 650 now, so we're getting there. And I want to complete 24 buddy colors. I've completed 2. Create 12 coloring pages. I did not make any in January, but I did do some art that I'm probably going to turn into coloring page. So there is that. And then finish at least 1 page in World of Wonders each month. So I did finish one in January. So those are my goals. And then there's the January tracking. So I made a space for my hashtags, and you can see the dotted ones that I actually participated in. My buddy colors, the pages I've started, and I marked which ones have been finished. And then my book and supply purchases during the month. And then the rest is essentially a page by page with the book, the description of the page, when I started, when I finished, supplies, the hashtags for that page, and then a color log. Not always, I don't always do a color log, but sometimes I do. Depends on the page. It is a bit harder with alcohol markers since I can't put the color down on the page, but for the rest of the supplies, I can do that better. Sometimes I'm just using too many and I don't really feel like writing them down, or I'm not near where I have this, but at least having the supplies is a good idea so that I can have that information for this video. So yeah, and then I would mark them as done so that I would know which ones have been done. And that's it. And then next page I'll have to set up my February tracking and go on from there. So that's the idea, and that is my coloring journal. Small Victories by Johanna Basford. This continues to be my little book that I use to color when I'm downstairs in the living room or spending time with friends and we're just chatting. I managed to finish 2 pages, or page and a half really. I had started this one during Christmas, when I went to Christmas dinner, and I finally finished that one during January. And then I continued with the page beside it because it had the same kind of themes, so I kept the same colors. I used the Hifourney 72 set for this book because it's a set I have in a carrying case that I can carry with me. I like how the pencils work on this one, and I've already started a page for February. We'll see how many pages I finish, but yeah, this is just my little travel coloring book. So that's 2 pages done there. Pretty simple. The next book I colored in is the Travels Through Asia by Rita Berman, and this was my first buddy color. So the page that we picked was this one. Change the zoom a bit. So we chose this page because of the Floral Cat Color Along 24 hashtag and the Cats Travel with Rita hashtag. It was also my January Color Your Hoard hashtag for me because this is a book I got for Christmas. And I also included it in the J for Japan 2024 hashtag. So that was, the buddy color was with I and My Pets Too. We'll scoot this over and put her version on the side. I really like how similar yet different they turned out. I think I like her water better than mine. I was trying to do something with it. I used some acrylic colors to go over the pencils, and it looks okay, but I really like how hers turned out. I do like both of them though. They have their own charm. And yes, mine was done with Ohuhu watercolor markers and Prismacolor Scholars for the shading, and then some acrylic markers for details. And I'm not sure if I can show it off, but I did use acrylic marker to put in the details on the flowers. So you have the little dots there, and I really like how those came out. Okay, so that was my first buddy color. My second buddy color was in Fairy Wonderland by Fabiana Attanasio, and this was another new page, new book. And this buddy color was with coloring_Jen, and we picked this grasshopper page with all of the lanterns. I used Ohuhu alcohol markers for the base. I used a bit of Black Widow pencils to shade the wooden areas, the Flysea Acrylic Gold for the gold details, and I used the Animo Acrylic Gold for the border. So just a bit of shine on a few of the elements, like the music notes and some of the details on the lanterns and the border. I am editing a video where I talk about my process for this one and how I chose colors and how I went coloring all of this. It won't be a play-by-play, just so that it is a bit more condensed in information and less of just me coloring for ages. But I hope you like it. It might be a two-parter. I might condense it to just one because yeah, it depends on the length. So far I have like 17 minutes worth of it edited and about halfway done with the drawing, so we'll see if I end up splitting it into two or not. Okay, so this was a, like I said before, this was a buddy color. In this case, coloring_Jen picked the page, and for me that was pretty interesting because I don't think I would have ever chosen this to be my first page in the book, or a page I did relatively fast. And I think that's one of the interesting things about doing buddy colors. Picking pages with other people means you get to leave your comfort zone and try something new. And I really like the result. And I'm gonna scooch this over to share her version. As you can see, they are pretty similar. Considering the theme of the page, I'm not entirely surprised. What I'm more surprised about are the differences. I really like how she blacked out the the music notes, and the subtle differences of choices in colors for the violins and the other elements. In general, like, you can see the idea colors are the same, but the execution is very different between what I did and what she did. And I really enjoy that. So the next book is Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford, and this is the book I am trying to do at least one page a month. I was hoping to get 2 pages done, but I only got one, and it was this one with the flowers. I was trying some new stuff here. So the base on this one is acrylic markers for the whole page. Yeah, the whole page is colored with acrylic markers first, including the background. I used some washi tape to mark out the border so I didn't have to go all the way to the border. And honestly, I kind of like it because this page isn't quite centered on because of the spine. So doing it this way, I managed to give it like a centered, and I didn't have to color all the way to the border. So once I had the acrylic down, I started with Prismacolors, but I did not like the variety I had because I only have the Prismacolor Scholars, and that's a 50 color set. And the colors just weren't working for me. I think I did this one and a couple of the smaller ones, and I didn't like how it was looking, so I switched to Brutfuner, and that worked a lot better, and I finished the rest of the shading with that. I really like the mix of acrylic with that because this book absorbs water-based markers too much. It ghosts to the other side and is really, really dark. So the acrylic stays on the top of the page and is a smooth finish and doesn't have as much streaks. I did have some streaks down here. I tried my best to keep the background not streaky, but yeah, it happened in a couple places. But yeah, so that was basically it. I just used those two and the washi tape. So that is that page. I have already picked out a page for this month. I'm going to be doing this one. It was picked out by my partner. So next up is a page in It's a Cat's World by Teresa Goodridge. This is my first Teresa Goodridge book, and this is my first Creative Haven that I own personally. So this was my first time coloring a page of hers. And I picked this kitty on a piano page. Do I have to zoom out? Yeah, there we go. So I used alcohol markers for this one, for the base. And then I shaded with Prismacolor Scholars. Worked a bit better here. I didn't have as many colors to worry about. And I wanted the opaqueness of the white for the fur. And then I used the Flysea gold marker for the details on the piano and the border. I really enjoy how this one came out. I wasn't sure I liked the style too much. She has a very sketchy style that I'm not used to. But I think it worked out well, and honestly, I'm looking forward to coloring more pages in this book. This was a gift from my sister for Christmas, so I had to share that and color a page in the book so that she could see what I had done with her gift. The other project I have for this year and year and a bit is coloring To the Ends of the Earth and Back Again by Good Wives and Warriors. This is a longest coloring book in the world. It is 17 feet long. It is an accordion style book, and I will be doing one page per month or one spread per month. So this is the first page in the book. I used alcohol markers. I was honestly so happy with this paper. It takes alcohol markers splendidly, and for the most part, unless I had to blend a lot, I didn't even need a page in between to catch the color. It was only when doing a couple of blending spots here where I realized I was bleeding through, so I used a blotter for when I was doing the dragon. Other than that, I didn't really need it because you can see here on the other side that for the most part, while it bleeds through, it only bleeds onto this and didn't really touch this page. And where it did, I checked and it did not go through to the page after that. So I went very red for my house. And initially I was thinking of doing the dragon in like a coppery color, but I had so much red on this side with the flowers and the house and everything, and these small elements of red were not enough for me, so I decided to keep the colors I had already going and just go for, I basically used the same colors that I used for these flowers for the dragon. I had quite a few reds and oranges in a gradation and then yellows, so I used that for the dragon and the little symbol on its horns. So yeah, the whole thing was shaded in alcohol markers. I did not use any pencils on top. And then for the water splashes down here, I used a Jelly Roll white pen for the line art. And I have to continue it on the other side because since it's a continuous image, the element continue over the side. So I have to kind of keep going a bit so that I can finish the elements and not have to remember necessarily the colors I was using, and so that there's no borders with the alcohol markers. So yeah, looking forward to doing this. I was inspired to pick this up by the coloring chemist, who is almost finished with her book. She's got 2 spreads left, and she's doing 2 spreads a month. I am only doing 1, so it is going to take me a bit. There's 15 spreads in total, so that's going to be just over a year to complete it, as long as I get 1 per month. We'll see how that goes. Wish me luck. That is all my finished pages. I have some work in progresses, some that are pretty close to finished, but I had to stop because of technical issues. So remember this. I have to put it sideways because it is too big. But here we go. The giant coloring book, Pokemon giant coloring book that I got for Christmas as a bit of a gag gift for my friends. I decided to do a page. I figured that I had quite a lot of cheap acrylic markers, so I would use that for coloring the page. And I picked this page to test this out. So you can see it worked pretty well. I got pretty close to the actual colors of the Pokemon, but I don't have quite enough colors on acrylic markers to do the shading with acrylic markers. So I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to do the shading. The white part, since it didn't have acrylic, I have already used alcohol marker, and you can see that I started doing a couple of spots here. These were shaded with alcohol markers. Now the problem I found was that the alcohol in the alcohol marker tends to dissolve the acrylic. And then the acrylic paint gets on the nib of the alcohol marker, and since I used black acrylic marker to go over the line art, it dissolves that and kind of mixes with the alcohol marker and smudges. So I finished that, and I figured, okay, I have to find something else. I tried using a diamond painting sealer to seal the painting, and I did just this foot here, and then colored over it with alcohol marker. As you can see, it ended up very splotchy, very much not smooth at all. It seems to like sit too cleanly on top of it. I was hoping to use that because it's smoother than my other option, which is watercolor grounds, because I don't have any gesso or satin glaze. I might have to get satin glaze because I know I've heard that that's the smoothest you can get, and I don't want to break my alcohol marker nibs. So I was looking for a solution that would be smooth enough to not affect the nibs. So in the meantime, it's at this point, I'm just waiting to see how best to tackle shading. But other than the shading, it is fully colored, so I don't know, it's a finished page, I'd say. My other non-completed page, my work in progress, is from Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Egusa. And this is one I started last month, and I think I showed off in my completed pages for December. And it is this bird page. It is close to done. I've been trying some watercolor. I used some watercolor markers, but as watercolors. It did have some bleeding, but this page is done. But yeah, you can see it has some ghosting there and up there. Like you can see where I used colors. But so I'm not sure if I'm going to do the birds in that technique as well, because they're bigger areas and it'll leave a lot of ghosting to the other page. So I'm probably just going to do it in pencils at this point, just to make sure I don't entirely ruin the other page. But the reason why it's been sitting at this point is I keep hesitating about what colors to use for the birds. I've looked up, with the help of friends, a bunch of Japanese birds that are around for winter. So I have a bunch of references. I just have to pick which birds I'm doing for each of these and get to coloring. I think I've just put too much pressure on myself on how I want this to look, and yeah, you put too much pressure and you just keep putting it off. So hopefully I'll be able to finish it before winter's over, and I'll be able to show the finished version of this. In the meantime, I do like how it's looking. I really like how the holly came out. And I'm looking forward to putting some glitter on the snowflakes, but I don't want to put the glitter on until I am done coloring the birds. So that is it. My final work in progress is my attempts at learning how to watercolor. So this is done with actual watercolors and not watercolor pencils or markers, at least so far. I printed this page. This is one of the free pages that RJ Hampson has on his webpage. So it's not the greatest, but I actually do like how it's looking. Now, initially, I had not washi taped this down, and I don't know if it's visible, but Earl got upset at me ignoring him the other day and started tearing up the page. So I have washi taped it down now so that it doesn't crinkle as much, and hopefully I'll finish it. I get kind of intimidated with doing watercolors. I think that's my problem. I keep expecting perfection despite the fact that I am a total newbie when it comes to watercolors. So, I don't know. I think it's looking okay. I just have to start getting some more colors. And so far this was done with a water brush, the brush that has water in it. And I was having a lot of issues with controlling the amount of water I was using with it. So I think next time I'm going to use a normal brush with normal water and see if that helps with controlling how much water is used. So yeah, that was my last work in progress and all of my completed pages. I will see you in the next one.